I didn't know any better. Actually, I was pretty clueless looking back at it now. It was my first dive after getting my open water certification. And of course, I ended up with a Whacko Divemaster. So this is my story of my first dive after getting certified, and I hope yours was better. Now, we did our classwork and pool work in New York, and we went to Antigua in the Caribbean to get our open water certification to do our 4 training dives. And I think that has something to do with it. The certification part went well, 4 dives, and we got our open water certification. Well, actually, there was one little snafu. We're on the boat, we're going out to get certified. Before we went, we called up the dive shops to see who had a NAUI instructor, because we did a NAUI course in New York, so we wanted, obviously, a NAUI instructor to do our 4 training dives. The dive shop near our hotel was only PADI, so we went to the next beach over and went to a shop that had a NAUI instructor. So we're on the dive boat, we're going out, we're getting ready to get into the water for our first dive, and the dive master is telling us what we're going to be doing, and that included a fin pivot. And my husband and I are looking at each other, fin pivot? What the heck's a fin pivot? So he asked the dive master, and he goes, didn't you take the PADI course? And we're like, no, we're natty. He goes, oh, I can only certify PADI. So he thinks for a little bit. He goes, okay, if you can do all the stuff, if you pass everything and you do well in the 4 training dives, I'll just give you a PADI certification. We're like, fine, doesn't matter to us as long as we have some certification. So that's how he came to be. Now we trained and PADI certified. I hope that's not against the rules. Anyway, so after our certification, we're getting ready to do our first dive. We're excited because we don't have to do any tricks. We can just sit down there and enjoy. Now, the dive master we had reminded me as one of those stereotypical characters you think that run away to the Caribbean to hide, kind of like this guy right here. Now, I have no idea if he was hiding in the Caribbean. Maybe he was, because he was a little bonkers. So we all descend, and as we go along, the dive master, aka as we came to call him, Crazy Man, sees a nurse shark laying under an outcropping on the sand. So he has us all circle around the shark, and he points at me. I'm like, you're pointing at me? And he calls me over. I'm like, okay, I go over. I had no idea what he was doing. And he points at the shark. I'm like, yeah, a shark. I see a shark. Now, as an aside, before we even started our certification process, I told my husband I'd be very happy if I never saw a shark my whole diving career. Now here I was on my first dive and I'm seeing a shark. So the dive master keeps pointing at the shark. Then finally he takes my hand and he proceeds to take my hand and have me pet the shark. Yes, pet the dang shark. Now I know now, never ever touch marine life. I had no business petting that shark. None of us did. But I was pretty clueless back then. I mean, it's no excuse. It was my ignorance. I should have known. But Crazy Man had me petting the shark, so I snatch it away. After a couple strokes, I'm like, what the heck? And back I go to join the rest of the group. And he had the rest of the group come and pet this poor shark. I honestly don't remember if everybody did. I'm sure there were some people that said no because they were probably experienced divers and they knew better. But don't ever touch the marine life. It's that old saying, look, but don't touch. And it was a good lesson I learned there. Now that little exciting bit of the dive was over. We continue on the dive. Now there was another dive master with us, and now at one point of the dive he was ahead of Crazy Man. So he sees something he wants to point out to us. I forget what it is. Let's just say turtle for the sake of argument. So he goes over and he points out the turtle and shows us the turtle, which we enjoyed looking at. And then I look over and there's Crazy Man bent down in the sand, taking his regulator out of his mouth, throws it down, crosses his arms in front of him, and proceeds to have a pissed off look on his face. I'm like, what the heck was that? I didn't know what was going on. I thought he ran out of air. I was about to go over and give him my octopus. I look at my husband. He shrugs. We were flabbergasted. Later, up on the surface, we're talking over with other divers, and we've come to the conclusion that he just did that because he was pissed off. The other dive master showed us something, and he couldn't handle it. I mean, who does that? Have you ever seen a dive master act that way? Let me know. But I'm happy to say I've not seen that type of behavior ever since. Mr. Crazy apparently is an original. Thank goodness for that. Now the dives we did were nothing to write home about, but at least we have a story to tell about our first certified dive. And one we will never forget because of Mr. Crazy. Now on the theme of my first certified dive, I want to share with you 15 things I wish I knew before I started diving. Can see how many you knew. You can watch that video right here. Thanks for watching and happy and safe diving. And I hope you don't get a Mr. Crazy.